So we've seen now that we can set different registers with different values to achieve different gains and different sampling frequencies, and we're going to write a function to set the sampling frequency and the gain. For that, we need to write to set some registers. So there is this function, this AIC3204.c is the register set. So it takes the register number and a value, and it will set using the I2C. We are going to look inside this function later on to see what it's doing, but for now we will just use this function here to set register values. And here we have this function set sampling frequency. It takes a sampling frequency and a gain. So we will set a default. So the default to 48 kilohertz. We need to set the register 5, the P and R registers, to the value 91. We can calculate from here. So if we have 48,000 hertz, it's the value 91. Here we limit the gain, so if a person tries to set a gain higher than the 47.5, and we limit to 47.5, and here we are just bit shifting this value to have the correct values for the register. At this point we're defining some sampling frequency predefined values. So as we are fixing a lot of the registers and we just want to change the p value, we will have a limited number of values. So of course you can change the program to accept any kind of values for all the registers. It's possible, but here we have 48,000, 24, 16, and we get these PLL/PR values using this formula here. So now we have a value for the PLL/PR for the sampling frequency and also for the gain. So we can start setting some registers. I will not talk about the I2S now, but we are configuring serial bus 0 for the I2S. Then we are selecting page 0, resetting the codec, pointing to page 1. Here we are defining that we are using the M clock for the PLL clock and the PLL clock for the codec clock in. So we are setting value 3 to register 4. You need to look at the data sheet to see what are the registers we need to set and which values corresponds to which. So with this we are setting this path here, so we're using the M clock, and then we'll have this block here, and then we have the PLL clock, and then we have these clock dividers here, and then we have our sampling frequency. So at this point now we are setting for example the J register, then we are setting the D register. They're all part of this formula here to get the PLL clock. So they're here, these values. Then we are at this point we are setting the PLL/PR that we had here, these values here. So it's register 5, and we set the value that we choose. And then we also have these other clock dividers, so we are fixing them to some values. Then there is also the possibility to do some routing. So we are not going to talk about this, but the audio codec provides many different programmable controls. So we can adjust digital control volume, we can adjust add some embedded filters. We are not going to do this now, we are just configuring the sampling frequency. So we have here, we configured now the PLL/PR, we're configuring the other registers, and here at this point here we are configuring the gain for the left and right. So these are registers 59 and 60, and then we are giving the value gain. You can also look on the data sheet, there are other things we can change. We can change the, as I mentioned, there are these registers for input resistors with different values, and then we achieve different gains. So now we already configured everything what we wanted to configure. we give this weight a bit so things get processed. There's some more configurations for I squared s, and then we will return the output just for printing the results.